This is Karen with NewClevelandRadio.net, and it is time for another interview with a wonderful performer, and her name is Robin Lane. And if you had listened to the interview that I did with Michael Veach just recently, you will know that the two of them will be sharing the stage at Cafe Lena on September 22nd, one of my favorite places for live music. So, Robin, welcome and tell us a little bit about your music background before we talk about the wonderful performance you guys are going to have.
Sorry for that phone. My background is I've been doing music my whole life. My father was a musician, and I just grew up with it naturally and writing songs. And I moved to Boston. I grew up in California, moved to Boston, and started a band, Robin Lane and the Chartbusters. We had the 11th video on MTV. We're supposed to be the next big thing, but you know how those things work out sometimes, or don't work out. Anyway, and I never stopped doing music. And then, actually, I have a huge background. I was one of the first people that had a baby as a rock and roll woman,
Wow.
and that wasn't heard of in those days. It was the downer. You're just. In fact, I heard these things like, "Once a woman has a baby in this business, she's done for. She's over." So that kind of cooked my goose. But I've never gone away. I've always released things. But this particular album, Dirt Road to Heaven, is something I very much love, and I hope that everybody that hears it will love it too. It just came out.
So, tell us a little bit about the album as we encourage our listeners to go out and purchase it and enjoy it, and then go back and listen to previous music.
You want me to tell you something about Dirt Road to Heaven?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, when I think about it, I am on a dirt road to heaven. I think if you walk in your own direction, you kind of, a lot of things along the way. And mine is a dirt road, but I love dirt. You can't get away from dirt. And I think it's very important to love the dirt and the earth. And so therefore, that's all intertwined. There's a lot of songs on this album that are very dear to my heart. And one, I love this song, and your listeners who may be a little bit older might appreciate this. It's called This Could Be My Last Cute Minute.
Wow.
And it's kind of a country-ish type song. Originally, this was my country album, and then it morphed into other things. And I think that's why it's being labeled Americana. I think people need labels to understand whatever it is, but it's just music, just songs, and this could be my last cute minute. You never know. I mean, but then again, I could be 20 and it could be my last cute minute. What else? Have you listened to the album? Do you have any particular songs?
I've been listening to bits and pieces because this has been a week of doing entertainment interviews, and I've been getting some of the music mixed up, so I'm not going to even try. but I love the fact that this is Americana music because we're living through such turbulent times right now, and we all need to come back to the earth. And I never thought of myself as a very earthy person until a couple of years ago. And my sister-in-law, who happens to live in Saratoga Springs, New York, is a composter to the nth degree. And one day I said to her, but I live in a condo, and how can I compost? How can I do one small thing, to keep American soil alive and well? And she said, do you drink coffee and tea? And I said, yes. And she said, then take those coffee grounds and tea grounds and put them in your garden. And she said, and you'll be saving the earth a little bit. And what I
Wow.
love about it is when I touch the dirt and when I touch the grounds, it's like I feel like I'm actually giving back. And so, you know, today when I, think about Americana music, it takes us back to those times and it makes us think ahead. You know, we don't want to spoil what we have. So,
No, and we want to revitalize it and keep it vital and keep it growing and moving forward. The earth, is like us, it's alive,
right.
and we have to take care of it if we want to survive. That's what I think too. Um,
Absolutely.
I have another song. It's not on this album, but it's kind of about planting things in the dirt, but it's a really weird song because it's about why do we have two eyes? Why do we have a body? So it's like that, but getting into the soil and imagining this beautiful life that we can all have together if we just do our own little part, like the coffee grinds. I think that's good. I'm going to start doing that more now.
So I understand that you and Michael, and I believe it's two others, are going to be performing at Cafe Lena. Um, and it's about the memories of the Holocaust. Am I correct?
Um, where, you know what you're talking about? I have no clue what you're talking about.
I thought you were going to be performing at Cafe Lena, correct?
Where's that?
No. Okay. Well,
I want to, if it has something to do with the Holocaust.
okay. Well, then we will talk on a different level because, see, I just told you this has been a week of talking to musicians and I got my wires crossed. So, to my audience, I am sorry. Um, it's just been one of those weeks.
No, I want to know all about it, but I guess you can tell me later if you've been telling the
I
audience.
will tell you offline. Absolutely. But tell us, you said that you got started, at a young age and uh, having a child in the music industry was sort of a,
That was it.
was an end for most people, right?
I don't know about most people because soon after, and I became really good friends with this woman, and we started a nonprofit together. But she had a magazine out called Rocker Girl. And I remember seeing that magazine before I met her, and it said, Moms Who Rock. And that was, maybe 15 years after I lost all the publishing, the record deal, the whole thing. And yeah, and then moms were rocking, of course, women were getting their power back, I suppose, in the industry itself, which is mainly based on younger women and whatever it is.
But interesting part is younger women become older. We all
Mothers
evolve,
too.
right? And as we evolve, I think we have the ability to be just as great as we were, in our early days. And
So much.
and I think,
And more.
oh, absolutely. And I think we're seeing that in our society today, that women are getting their voices and they're using their voices, whether it's through song, through, podcasting, through writing. We are becoming really of age after all these many, many years. Is that how you see it when you're writing your music?
I don't know about when I'm writing my music, but I totally see that and live it and breathe it. And women I've worked with, I have this nonprofit called Songbird Sings, and I help women who've experienced trauma, well, veterans too, all sorts of people now actually, find a key to their own healing through songwriting. And so I see this power. It's like just developing in women. And it's not a power that men need be afraid of. We all have to be in this together, but women have been squashed for so long. Their voices have been squashed, or who they are, or who they could be. Anyway, we need to allow women to be who they are and that's what I'm seeing. And when I write a song, I do think about it, but not, sometimes I write songs out of my subconscious. They're not like, I'm not thinking about them. They come out, and then I see what they are, later after I've written it.
So, on your album that you produced with your band, um, tell me a little bit. I'm reading something right now, and one of the songs that's sort of um, is getting to me just by the title. It's called Hard Life.
Mhm.
Tell me about
Yeah,
Hard Life.
the album was actually produced by myself and John Pfister, my bass
Okay.
player, who owns the studio. Um, Hard life, well, it's it's a hard life, right? But and I think the chorus is, it's a hard life, it's a hard life, but I got you now, babe, and we can never be shattered. But a lot of the songs that I write, and I realize later, are about, I'm writing them to myself. So the I got you, babe, is I'm the babe, I'm the me, I'm the partner,
Right.
because I don't have a significant other. I have my friends, but I rely on myself. And so basically it's a hard life, but there are things going on that you can hold on to or let go of, and, basically not see it as a hard life all the time.
And, and that I think is the key to finding true happiness. If we keep looking out and saying, this is difficult, I can't do it. Um, we become overwhelmed with that. But there's another way of looking at it. And yes, it's hard, but look what I've accomplished. Um, and I've talked to many women about the same thing, that, we think that everything has been so difficult for us. We keep climbing the mountain and we never seem to get to the top. But I've started saying, I'm climbing the mountain and I'm not on the ground anymore.
There
And,
you go.
that's one way of looking at it. I may never get to the apex, and that's okay. But am I striving to keep going? That is the difference. And it sounds like that's, what you believe in your music as well.
Yeah, how could I live otherwise? I just don't, you can't, I don't, when I see unhappy people, I just, mostly they're making themselves unhappy, unless, dire circumstances, of
Sure.
course.
Absolutely.
But I think climbing your mountain is the journey, and that's it. You don't have to reach anywhere. I mean, it would be nice, I suppose, to reach some things, but then you're always striving for something that you may not get.
Well,
So enjoy the journey.
Well, and that is, the ultimate in life. If we don't enjoy the journey and we keep waiting, to get to the brass ring or whatever that is, we're going to miss so much along the way. And some of what we might miss may not be very comfortable, but it teaches us a lesson as we go forward. And I've seen that in my
That's where
life.
we learn,
Yes, absolutely.
in the hard places.
So when did you identify yourself as a songwriter? How old were you? Were you a young child? Were you already, in your high school days or past that? When did you find?
No, I grew up in Encino, California, and over the hill about 3 miles was Hollywood and Sunset Strip. And I started going over there, hanging out with a whole bunch of people that wrote songs that were in bands, and I would see them up close and personal, singing these songs and writing the songs that they wrote, and they were singing them. And I just went, oh my God, I want to do that so bad. I have to do that. And I don't know what that was. I mean, my father wrote songs, but I wouldn't have written the kind of songs that he wrote, I don't think. And then I got pregnant another time I got pregnant with my first child, who I gave up for adoption, but we later found each other.
Oh, how
And
wonderful.
so that's really great. But when I got pregnant, something came over me and I started writing songs. Every single day I wrote about 5 songs. My brother had taught me chords on the guitar. I was playing the guitar a little bit. I learned a couple songs and would play them for people. And then when I was writing, I got a publishing deal and things started clicking.
So,
But not right away. I mean, this is what would happen to me. In those days, you went into the A&R person's office and you sang your songs. You're hoping to get a record deal. And that was a big deal, get a record deal. So then I'd go in there and I'd be singing my songs and they'd go, oh, that's nice, but we already have Laura Nero or whatever. And then they couldn't have another female. And then I'd go to another office and I'd be playing my songs and the phone would ring and the guy would pick it up and he'd be talking on the phone and I'd be in the middle of singing a song. And I wouldn't know what to do. Do I stop? I mean, obviously now when you're older, you go like, hey, you fool. But so it was really, that was when I started writing songs and then I just kept writing songs and moved back east. Got a record deal with this label called Private Stock, Richard Goddard. He went on to produce the Go-Go's, but then Private Stock folded. But I enticed my band, Robin Lane and the Chartbusters, to be in my band because I had a record deal. I said, hey, do you want to make a record with me? As I was hanging out at the Rat. They said, oh yeah, you're kind of cute, let's do that. So we got together and then the label folded and then the manager that we had got us a deal with Warner Brothers, which was probably we should have stuck with the Grassroots label, but what the heck, it got us out there and, MTV and all that.
that's wonderful. And, I'm sure you've seen the change in the industry from when you got started to where it is today, because today so many artists are producing their own music because, it's difficult. They have the label, sign you on. So is that what you're doing at this moment in time? Do you have your own label?
No, well, I've released a few things on my own. But the Dirt Road to Heaven is on Red Records. So there is a label involved. It wasn't involved at the beginning. We hooked up together after we'd made the album. But yeah, I'm kind of into doing it myself, but everybody else is too. So there's so much music out there and people making albums. Yeah, there's and so I'm happy to have a publicist and Red Records. Yeah,
Absolutely. But again, the creation of music has changed to such a degree that you're right. There are a lot of people out there creating it themselves, producing it themselves, out there being their own PR person. It's a tough road, but if it's something that we love and want to do, we find a way to keep going. So, we're just really coming off the pandemic. So during those 2 years and we were sort of isolated, how did you spend your time in your creativity?
I put out an album called Instant Album. I got a whole bunch of songs of mine together that had been recorded but never released, and I put it on an album and I put it out. And it's there on YouTube and on my website. And it's pretty good, actually. One guy from is it Milwaukee? Yeah, the Milwaukee. He said it was the best album of 2020. 2020. Best album of 2020. His favorite. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's what I did during the pandemic, and relaxed. Even though I was diligent with the mask wearing and all that, but there was not a lot of pressure. I mean, you couldn't really go too many places, and you
Right.
couldn't, people were working from home. So I think I got rid of a lot of things in my house.
Wow. So you did a little bit of everything. You produced an album and you cleaned out your house, and hey, a lot of us needed that time. And
Yeah.
I'm starting to realize, that I'm starting to get back into that rat race, and it's
Yeah.
time for me to, like, okay, I can say no occasionally. Um, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I am out on your website, and I'm going to encourage all of our listeners to get out to your website, to see your different albums out there, to read up more about you, and to follow you as you continue to get out and perform, and bring this music, closer to many of us. Your newest one is called Dirt Road to Heaven. And I can't wait to just sit down and listen to every track on that album.
Can I tell you something? Your listeners could join me on my Patreon page,
Okay.
which is patreon.com/Robin Lane. Join me there. There's a tier. It's cheap, and you get everything from me, including bantering back and forth. And if you're on Facebook, you can be in my Facebook group too. I love doing the Patreon page, so join me there.
That sounds wonderful. Well, I want to thank you for joining me today. We will put all this information in the show notes. So those of you who are listening, if you're saying, where can I follow her? What can I do? It'll be written in stone. So there's no reason why you can't follow Robin Lane. And thank you again. Have a
Well,
great
thank you
day.
so much for having me, and I'm sorry about the video. But have a great day and a great rest of your week.
Thank you. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.